The offseason is in full gear for Nebraska, and we have about 2 months until fall camp. So in today's video, I'm going to fast forward to some of my Husker breakout candidates this year, some under-the-radar freshmen, sophomore, and even some junior and senior players. And I'm going to talk about why I think these guys are not only going to break out to be contributors on the team, but I think some of them will even be some of the better players in the country in NFL draft picks. So really quick, before we dive into it, make sure to smash that like button if you're getting pumped up about the Nebraska football season. I know I am. And hey, hit that subscribe button if you don't want to miss daily Husker football content, talking about Husker recruiting, Husker rumors, the upcoming season. Again, hit that subscribe button. That would help me out tremendously. But without further ado, let's just jump right into it, talking about Nebraska breakout players this year. And really quick, what does breakout mean? Well, I used about one or two pieces of criteria. It means that really either one, you are going to take a massive step in 2024, or two, you're just really have never produced before in a Nebraska uniform. You're finally going to make some steps to, be a contributor and make this team great once again. So with that being said, there's not going to be a guy like Raiola on this list, for example. He's a guy that we already expect to be, one of the better players on this Nebraska football team. We're going to be talking about under the radar guys that you may or may not know, but you definitely will by the end of the season. So let's start it off on the offensive side of the football with a wide receiver, redshirt freshman, Jaidyn Doss. Oh man, I love Jaidyn Doss. This is a guy who came to campus last fall, and I liked him the most out of any of the other true freshman wide receivers. And we had a stacked class. We had Demetrius Bell, Malachi Coleman, Jalen Lloyd. And Jaidyn Doss was my favorite, and not just mine, but a lot of others. And there's good reason because of it. He was a borderline 4-star recruit coming out of high school. In his senior campaign, he had 800 receiving yards and 300 yards on the ground. He was a do-it-all type of guy, one of the best players inside his state. And unfortunately, he just got hit by the injury bug last year for Nebraska, was really unable to make any impact on the year. But again, he was balling out in spring ball, kept hearing his name, how well he was playing. So Jaidyn Doss, I really expect him to climb the ranks in honestly a wide open receiver room. I mean, we can pencil in Jamal Banks as the number one guy there, and I think we can pencil in Jalen Lloyd as the number two guy there. But after that, I could definitely see Jaidyn Doss rise up the ranks and become one of the top wide receivers on this roster, especially going into his third year in 2025. So again, I love Jaidyn Doss. I think this guy's a stud. And we should get fired up about this receiver room because there's a lot of young players who are going to be potential, game changers going forward. So Jaidyn Doss, that's my number one breakout player. He was one of my guys last year. Again, unfortunately got hit by the injury bug, but this will be the year for Jaidyn. So definitely watch out for him on this offense. So keeping it with the offense, let's go to the trenches. Everybody knows how big I am on the offensive and defensive lines. I think, again, in order to win football games, specifically in the Big Ten, you have got to have elite trenches and elite pipeline. For that reason, my second breakout player is Henry Lutovsky, offensive guard for Nebraska. So this is an older player. This guy listed at 6'6", 330 pounds, going into his fourth year for Nebraska. I mean, time flies. It feels like he just got on campus as a true freshman, already going into his fourth year. He was in the 2021 class with Teddy Prohaska, but I loved Henry Lutovsky as a high school prospect. This is a guy who honestly I thought was better than Teddy. Teddy obviously has started time and time again for Nebraska. He started as a true freshman. That should show you how well I think Henry Lutovsky is as a player. Now, Henry's fought through the ranks the last couple years. He started in 2 games last year, played in every single one as a depth piece. This is just a brawler kid, right? He's a kid out of Iowa. Again, he's 330 pounds, right? He's really good in the run game. Definitely needs some work still in the pass pro, but just a complete hog inside that you're looking for. I know that Raiola likes in his offensive guards, likes in his centers. That's what we get here with Henry Lutovsky. And for that reason, I think he's going to start this year for Nebraska. This is a really good O-line unit. And Henry Lutovsky is a very good player. And there's a lot of good guards. There's a lot of good guards on Nebraska's team. Again, you have Micah Mazuka who's coming in. You have Ben Scott. Again, there you have Turner Corcoran who plays tackle, plays guard. But I like Henry Lutovsky just as much as any of those other guys, and I think he's going to win the job. So Henry Lutovsky, just a mauler. This is finally going to be his year. I am penciling him in to start there at right guard for Nebraska. So another breakout there. Let's get to my third player, and this one is a little bit of a different breakout player. This is Jacory Butler. Now, Jacory Butler played well last year. Okay, this is not a player who has been on the bench his entire career for Nebraska. Jacory Butler had 5.5 sacks last year. He was actually a sack leader and had 9.5 TFLs. Now, with that being said, Jacory Butler gets absolutely no love by the fan base, by Nebraska fans. Whenever we talk about this D-line, we talk about Ty Robinson. We talk about Nash. We talk about, the two true sophomores, Cameron Lenhart or Prince Wall-Manmilum. Nobody talks about Jacory Butler. Jacory Butler might just be the most talented and honestly the best defensive lineman we have on our team, right? He was traditionally a linebacker. We ended up moving him to kind of just be that traditional DN, be a jack. When he got on campus a couple years ago, he was 210 pounds. He's 250 pounds now. Again, he's just a traditional D-end, really built up to that. And really, he's a true pass rusher, man. He has so many crafty moves to get to the quarterback, right? That quick swim move, that high motor that you look for. I'm a big Jacory Butler guy. I think he needs some work in the run game, but nobody can doubt his pass pro abilities. He's the best pass rusher on our team right now, and that's not debatable. So give Jacory Butler some love. But the reason why I put him on our breakout candidate list is because last year he was honorable mention All Big Ten. This year, I think he makes that jump to, 8, 9, even double-digit sacks. I think he's going to be one of the better pass rushers in the country, and I think he's going to hear his name called in the NFL draft next spring. So Jacory Butler, I think he's going to establish himself as one of the best players in the country on the defensive side of the football. So give Jacory Butler some love because, man, oh man, this guy's a stud. All right, let's go to the fourth player on my list. This is a guy I talked about in the past, one of my guys, Ethan Nation, second-year player, true sophomore, cornerback on defense. Now, Ethan Nation, out of high school, had 50 offers. Everybody you can imagine try to get this guy. Bama, Georgia, Tennessee, Penn State, right? I mean, you can just go down the list when it comes to Ethan Nation. And in his true freshman campaign, he's just one of those players that Matt Rhule just tried to get on the football field no matter what because he's so talented, right? He tried to put him on kick returns, on punt returns. He tried to put him in the secondary whenever possible, right? He's listed at 5'10", about 180. He's just so naturally gifted. He's a true press man corner. You'd feel comfortable with him lining up opposite of any of the top tier wide receivers inside the Big Ten. I love Ethan Nation, man. And too many times we've seen, solid cornerbacks for Nebraska, but they don't have an eye upside. They don't have that first round, second round pick ability. They don't have 4.4 speed or, they don't have that gritty nature you're looking for in a cornerback. Ethan Nation has that. He has that ceiling. I think he could be a first-round draft pick. I think he could be, hearing his name called in the NFL draft after 3 years of college play. So, again, I love Ethan Nation. I expect him to be our second corner this year. I know that Bly Hill right now is probably that second corner. I think when it's all said and done at the end of the year, Ethan Nation will be that guy just because of literally how talented he is. Matt Rhule raves about him all the time. We hear Evan Cooper rave about him all the time. So I think Ethan Nation is really going to take a big step. Again, that secondary room in general, it's not very proven, but we're not going to have to worry about that after this year because Ethan Nation is going to establish himself alongside Tommy Hill as a lethal duo. So those are my top 4 breakout players. I have one more for you. I had to throw in a true freshman, not Dylan Raiola. This is Jacory Barney. So another wide receiver here. This guy's a 4-star wide receiver coming out of Miami. Again, I remember his recruiting process. He had 30-plus offers. He looked like a Nebraska lean for a while. Then right at the last second, Miami came in hard. Everybody started putting crystal balls in for Miami. And we actually learned a couple weeks ago that the reason why he ended up sticking with Nebraska at the last second was because the Huskers brought some more NIL money for him. He's making more NIL money than any other true freshman receiver for Nebraska right now. So Jacory Barney, definitely a very talented player, and we saw that in the spring game. I still remember that catch for a touchdown that he made off of Heinrich Harburg's pass. Again, he basically made a 180 body adjustment to go get a football, get it in the end zone. So Jacory Barney, again, you see the talent with him. He's listed at 6 foot tall, 175. Man, and he has speed, real burners. Really, I mean, he's probably has about a 4.3 in his arsenal. It's a guy who returns kicks for punts and kickoffs. So again, love Jacory Barney, love what we can do with him in his offense, and I really expect him that if he learns the playbook and he's ready to go by the fall and he's well conditioned, I see no reason why he can't play as a true freshman. Again, Matt Rhule, one thing I love about him is that he said time and time again, if you're a stud and you're talented, I will put you on the field. He's going to stick to his word, and that's why I think Jacory Barney is going to be a breakout player, and he's going to be one of the better Nebraska wide receivers for years to come. So those are my 5 breakout players for Nebraska this June. Man, oh man, I'm getting pumped up about the season. And really what pumps me up, we know how good some of these players on the team are, whether that's Dylan Raiola, whether that's Emmett Johnson, whether that's Jamal Banks. But I love talking about these breakout players because that just, solidifies how well I feel about this depth and about the future of this team. So let me know down in the comment section below. Are you pumped up about some of these players I just mentioned? Who's your favorite? Again, let me know that in the comment section. And hey, if you made this far in the video, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. And as always, folks, go Big Red, go Matt Rhule, and see you in the next one.